Aloha, welcome to Yogi Tea Time, episode 35. I'm Stephanie, and today I'm drinking Moroccan mint tea, and it's pretty cold. It's been pretty cold, rainy, windy in California, so I'm drinking this warm tea, so cheers to you. So if you're tuning in live, feel free to use the live chat to communicate with each other or with me, and let me know where you're tuning in from and what tea or coffee or what your drink of choice is today. And I hope you're doing well. Let me know how you're doing. And I'll be looking down from time to time just to change out the captions. So today's topic is valuing your natural talent. And if you don't know what your natural talents are, then it's also identifying natural talent as well. I'm going to touch upon it for very briefly. And this is episode 35. We're already in March, so happy March. Let me know how February has been for you. For me, I feel like the month of February went by so fast. So it just seems like time's moving by really fast. And then March is month of it's a month of a birthday celebration for me. As my solar return, I'm a Pisces. So happy birthday to all my fellow February and March Pisceans. Thank you. And it's also end of March. We're going to go into spring equinox, which is always very important date in yoga. And it's going to be the first day of spring. So we're going into this change of seasons. I'll be doing some yin yoga for spring coming up. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm going to get straight into the topic today. So if you're watching this on replay, also welcome. And you're welcome to use a comment section as if you're having conversation with me. And feel free to be interactive with each other, as the purpose of this whole tea time is for me to just have a high vibe conversation with you and just talk about various topics to help you be your most authentic creative selves from the deepest truth of who you are. And it's a virtual community for highly sensory persons. That's the new term for highly sensitive person or empaths. It's a more empowered term to describe us. So here's to you. And we have our own unique gifts that are more special to the highly sensitive or highly sensory person, those of us who feel more and have more developed intuition and be able to observe and feel into others. So we have our natural gifts to be more creative. And if you're not a highly sensory person, then most likely you have a natural talent to just for more practical things, more strategic thinking and planning out, be more organized. It doesn't mean that the highly sensitive person won't be organized and all that, but that's just in general. So just let me know, either in the chat or the comment, what are you naturally good at? So in order for us to identify our natural talent, it's something that we're naturally good at, or something you were interested as children, early childhood, that you were maybe perhaps discouraged to pursue, um, either by peer pressure or parents or school. So we're going to explore and reconnect to those parts of ourselves through this conversation. And, I'm not going to make it too formal, so feel free to share your story either in the comments or in the chat. And also definitely let me know where you're tuning in from. And feel free to introduce yourselves. So what you're naturally good at, oftentimes we overlook that as our natural given talent. And I'm going to use talent and gifts kind of interchangeably, because ultimately these talents that we develop and naturally have, they're also our gifts, our superpower. And hello, Rachel. You're naturally good at listening. Yeah, listening is such a rare gift nowadays. People don't really listen. So that's really great. I'm naturally good at listening. Strangers, I'm gonna just strangers literally come up to me and tell me everything about their life, and I just listen and respond if asked. Yeah, that's an amazing gift, and actually that's on my list. Strangers coming up and just telling me everything, that's one of my gifts too. So I'm so happy to hear that. I think that's why we connected so naturally. So I'm glad you could be here today. And yeah, so it's what you're naturally good at. And I know as a little girl, I've always been naturally drawn to like coloring, and I would color things like outside of the box. So even before it was a fad to do like blue hair and all those colorful hair, I used to have this coloring book of different women with different cultures. So they would have their cultural outfit for each country, and I would come up with like, I love to color coordinate, so I always came up with some out of the box hair colors and like colored blue hair and things like that, even before that was a trend. And which is why tapping into my inner child, I created this coloring book with the description in the link to do these mandala drawings. So I tapped into that talent and combined my natural gift of drawing and yoga and Reiki, so infusing Reiki into the intention words. And the link for this is in the description. I wasn't going to talk about this less early, and it's done through Amazon, author Turtle Flow. But also the link to the direct coloring book is in the description also. And then my next thing was, as Rachel said, strangers coming up telling me their life stories. That's always been throughout my whole life. I was always naturally gravitated towards babies and animals, and I connect very naturally to babies and animals, even when I was a little girl. Hi, Melissa. You've been trying to figure that out lately. Massive career change. Welcome. Think back to childhood, my thoughts automatically went to dancing and acting, but never pursued. From Princeton, New Jersey. Welcome, Jersey in the house. I love it. Yeah, so these talents and gifts, as sometimes as soon as like a 1 or 6 months, you have like natural, you're drawn to different things early on. Um, and that's so great. So you could still pursue dancing and acting, and you don't have to make that into your career, but it will enhance the energy to fuel your own energy to do whatever career change you're making, um, to really enhance the energy that you can bring into it. So these are not necessarily career changes, but it could also lead to career change. And so, yeah, one of my gifts were always strangers telling me their life stories, or people coming up to me thinking I was their long lost best friend from their childhood, or they thought I was somebody. I guess I have a very familiar face. And people always think I'm somebody they used to know, that they used to be really close to, or just automatically feel like the best friend. And that also leads to, what did you love doing as a child? So, as children, we're just really allowed to express our interests. And if you observe children, have children around you, you get to really connect to that pure essence of who we are. So, being around children also helps to draw that out in us. And it also helps you to observe how those unique talents are already in them very early on. So you get to see not just talents, but also just different interests that they're drawn to, and then they get very like obsessed with. And just because you have a natural talent, it doesn't mean that you're just automatically good at it. I mean, there are some prodigies that are like automatically really good, like a pianist prodigy that can just play since they're like 3-year-olds. But most of us won't have a clear talent like that, but it's more subtle. So you have to really pay attention and look. And it is definitely as simple as just strangers telling you their life stories. So you might be a natural healer or counselor, a teacher, and or it could be, you could collect those stories and become a writer, fiction writer. So it could just lead to so many different things. And then also just observing what you like to do, what brings you joy, what energizes you. So the things, our natural talent usually gives us more energy. The more you do it, the more joy you feel from within. And it doesn't have to be tied to monetary rewards, although oftentimes it could lead to a very successful, abundant career. And you still need to put the work in and observe and get into um, those things. So it's definitely something that's gonna help you identify, and then you can hone your skill. It takes 10,000 hours to master at something. So, and then if you want to get like really woo-woo, some people might have had like past life where these talents get carried on to the next life. If you do believe in past life, if you don't resonate with it, I'm all about just honoring your free will and your truth. So I'm not here to tell you what's true or push my truths on you. So if you do believe in past lives, it's something to explore. You might have carried some gifts from past lives, so that's why it comes more easily. And sometimes because you might have been reprimanded during that time, you might have more fear that you have to get over. So it could work both ways. Again, as I've mentioned, I loved coloring and drawing as a little girl. So that always came naturally to me. And that also came from genetically, my ancestors. So sometimes you might have talents that's, passed down from your ancestors. And in my case, it was my maternal grandfather, my mom, and my uncles. They're all very artistic. And my grandfather and my uncle, who have both passed on, they were both artists and teachers, like fine artists. So my grandfather was the first artist in Korea, South Korea. He was one of the first generation to do Western style painting, whereas before him, everyone did the Eastern style painting. And his medium was oil paint and acrylic. And sometimes, even when we discover these natural talents, you might have, as I've mentioned, if you're reprimanded by your or discouraged by your parents, especially are the more highly sensory people, we're the more minority. So oftentimes people don't understand our ways or the feelings. And even just being able to sense and feel and observe and connect to everything around you more high with the higher sensory is a true gift that you can use in many different fields, and something that you shouldn't deny, and which is why we have all these practices that I share on this channel, so that you can really connect deeply to your truth, and also to help you navigate through your emotions in a safe space and honor and process them in a healthy way. And also reverse any self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors. So that can be done through affirmations, just showing up for yourself with the practice and just getting clarity, tuning out the external voices, other people's opinions, so you can really get quiet still to tune in, so you can hear your internal truth, your inner voice, your higher truths. And you also want to, so that comes to the next thing, limiting distractions. And then it's also learning to say no. So sometimes the natural, highly sensory person tend to be people pleasers, or you want to help others. So that sometimes you can get really sucked into other people's problems, other people's time, and their needs, that you put yourself last and you keep saying yes to things where the activity might drain you energetically, even though your heart wants to help and be there for people and empathize and help those around you and be a good person. And it's really hard to say no. It's learning to say no and being very clear to your priorities of what fuels your joy, what fuels your talents, what fuels your energy, and doing more of that and being around those people that gives you more recharge and uplift your energy more, which is why I'm offering this time of Yogi Tea Time. So if it's hard to find those in your family or even with our closest friends that we meet through school or work, sometimes it's still very hard to connect and express yourself really that way with your truth without them thinking you're weird or just not really understanding you. So this is safe space for us to really express and giving ourselves permission to explore our natural talents, and instead of denying, embracing, nurturing it. So you have to limit distractions of those activities and people that don't help you develop that natural talent, and also draining our energy. So you want to make sure, even if it's maybe an hour or 3 hours a week. So, Melissa, you say you love to dance and act. So maybe you pursue that for like an hour or 3 hours on the weekend. Or it could be an everyday thing. You might just start putting your favorite music and dance in the morning for 5 minutes. It could just really honoring and remembering. And if you were denied and never got to pursue, maybe try a class and see how that feels, and without expectation or attachment, just for pure joy, and then see where that leads you. So, as I've mentioned, to master any subject, even if it's your natural talent, you still want to put the hours in, practice in, and repetition, and hone the craft. So, even with people with natural talents, sometimes they won't be as successful if you do decide to make it as your career as someone who might not have as much of a natural talent, but is more willing to put the hours in to really work on the craft. So it's that meeting of the passion, the discipline to put in the work, practice, hone your craft, and meeting with your passion and joy. So those have to all kind of come together. Again, if you're not making a career change with your natural talent, you want to keep doing it. And another thing is sometimes things come so easily to you that you don't even think is a talent until you see someone else needing you to do it for them. So if you also find certain tasks that you're always doing for someone, or if people are always asking you for help on something, that's also a natural talent that maybe you could offer as a career, and it could end up being a career, but yeah, sometimes it's that subtle, and it's more about doing the inner work so that you can get clarity on how much of it you want to pursue, but first identifying and honoring, embracing, and then if you decide to nurture, and it depends on how much you want to work you want to put in to nurture that natural talent, that'll determine whether you want to keep it as a hobby or if you want to pursue it as a career change. And oftentimes when you do that, you want to tune inward and listen to expand your potential. So, in addition to the natural talent that you had as a little girl or in your early childhood, as you develop and build experiences and relationships, life experiences, you might even discover new natural talent that you didn't even know you had, that you never thought of pursuing, which is what happened to me with yoga. And then the Reiki is very natural because I've always been very um, much into the energy, the vibe, and it's what makes people drawn to me to tell me their stories and want healing from me. So it's all kind of coming together naturally. And the more you tune inward through meditation, energy work like Reiki, and like I said, the coloring books can also be time that if you like coloring, time to tune in to really do get into a meditative state through coloring, or it could be through creative writing, walking, doing a mindful walk, or being in nature, or simply petting your pet. And the mandala, also the staring at the mandala, has been proven to really help you to tap into your truth. And that's what the that's what the purpose of the mandala is throughout history in various cultures and religion. But it is not a religious thing, and it's whatever you resonate, whatever connects with you, and listening to that inner guidance without denying yourself. That's what matters. And then that's what's gonna ultimately lead to your most genuine, authentic creativity, and which is what the main purpose of this channel is. Every tool that I offer you, the mindfulness tools, from breathwork videos, Reiki videos, yoga videos, to the guided meditations, yoga nidra, which is the guided practice of deep relaxation, really helps to tune into your inner truth. And then the gratitude journal and the coloring books, which I offer through Amazon, that I created and designed myself with you in mind, refused with lots of Reiki. It's all in the description if you are interested with the link. So I hope that was somewhat helpful to you. And it's what I'm here to support, to give you encouragement. So feel free to share your passion projects when you're ready to share publicly. And sometimes you don't want to share things publicly too early on, but you might just give a very general topic for extra support by leaving a comment. And I look forward to hearing what your natural talents are and how you develop them throughout this past throughout this year, because 2023 is going to be a big year of that change. And as I've mentioned in the January New Year video, the New Year greeting, Yogi Tea Time, a lot of people will make a big career change for the in align with their natural talent and fueling their joy. So I'm rooting for you. I'm always cheering for you. I'm here for you, and always sending positive Reiki love. So with that, I'm going to end this today. So if you want to connect with me on Instagram, it's Turtle Flow Yoga. Again, thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. And if you have anybody that you know who might need this message or could benefit from it, feel free to share the video. Again, I have the gratitude journals and the mandala coloring book with different words of intention infused energetically. And if you want to book a Reiki virtual private session, I'm also available for 1 hour or 30-minute sessions through Zoom. And that's all on in the all the links are in the description. And that's pretty much it for today. So have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your month. And if you want to support this channel for my birthday is March 8th. If you resonate with that, I don't want to force anything on anybody. This is definitely my big passion project that I talked about on my last video as well. So it would make me really happy if you got that for yourself or for someone as a birthday, just to spread the love of finding your truth and doing the inner work to relax, de-stress, and find your joy and hone your natural talents. So if you have any questions or need support, you can always write in the comments. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night whenever you're watching. And go within and find your inner sparkle. Thank you. Aloha. Oh, you're ordering one for your granddaughter? Thank you. Thank you. For my birthday, I don't really have any plans. It's a low-key. The last few years have been a low-key birthdays for me. But I'm not big on having like big parties. I was never like that. But thank you so much and enjoy your March. And then Daisy just came. My Daisy. So before I leave, we'll quickly say hello. Hello. I hope solar plexus is doing well. All right. I'm gonna be leaving. Thank you, Rachel. And I'm looking forward to your podcast. When you're ready, definitely share here. Any links or just the name when you're ready. All right. Thank you so much. And we will keep